Alright, what is up YouTube? The Mummy Dust here, back with another video for the Sinister Cup. Today we're going to be going over my Go Stadium Sinister Cup performance. And in this cup I decided to run Cresselia with Confusion, Aurora Beam, and Moonblast. Poliwrath with Bubble, Power Up Punch, and Ice Punch. Steelix with Dragon Tail, Crunch, Earthquake, Drifblim, Ominous Wind, Shadow Ball, and Hex. Dusclops with Hex, Shadow Punch, and Fire Punch, and Mawile with Bite, Power Up Punch, and Play Rough. So you will notice this did take place as the Sinister Cup was changing. So my strategy does change a little bit, but the main thing is to use Dusclops as either the lead or a safe switch, or to use Mawile as a lead or a closer against their ghost types, as well as Steelix and Poliwrath being very consistent threats. And later in the meta, I basically really liked Drifblim as a closer, using Shadow Ball when shields are down. So Cresselia basically acting as another shield Pokemon that you don't have to use a shield with. Poliwrath dealing consistent damage to pretty much everything in the meta except for Metachan and like a Thunderfang Steelix. It still does a bunch of damage to that, but being able to handle things like Mawile and other Pokemon. So you'll see in some of my other videos I do change my team up quite a bit. I like to use different Pokemon. I think Sinister Cup was absolutely knocked out of the park by Silph Arena. It was a very fun cup, very diverse, you know, a whole bunch of different strategies and things like that. So let's go ahead and get into the battles here. Against my first opponent, it says PvPedo, but his name is Zeta in his in-game name. So we're going to go ahead and lead with Mawile, use Cresselia to switch if they switch into a fighter, and then Dusclops as a safe swap for anything else. So they did have Poliwrath as the lead, so we're going to switch into our safe swap, and hopefully he's going to swap out. Hex Dusclops does handle Poliwrath very, very well. So it is Ice Punch, so he does have kind of an answer. We're going to go ahead and go for the self-piggyback, or basically doubling up on charge moves. So we do burn a shield. What I've noticed also is if you burn a shield, they are likely to burn a shield in this scenario. So if you're looking to kind of close out the game with a Shadow Ball user or something, it's something that you can do. As well. So we're going to go ahead and get to another Shadow Punch. I believe we survived this, and we're going to get a Shadow Punch in. And there we go. And another reason I brought Cresselia is because of his Confusion user and his Haunter as well. So Cresselia, really good coverage against his team. And then we're going to go ahead and hit this Alolan Marowak with a Shadow Punch as well, so Dusclops getting a ton of usage. And then we're going to swap into Mawile. I should have just stayed in and let my Dusclops die instead of switch locking myself, because now we're locked in against the Metachan. But we do have Cresselia, able to just go ahead and Confusion this thing down, and then we'll have a couple charge moves ready to go for the Alolan Marowak. We did get lucky here. Probably should have lost this matchup. I'm not sure what happened. You'll see here in a second, but we're just going to keep Confusioning down. There's a Psychic, and there we go. And I hadn't had this come up, so I go ahead and Moonblast. The reason I'm carrying Moonblast is because if I end up in a Cresselia mirror, it is a huge advantage for me, where Aurora Beam does decently well, as well as, see, I'm not sure, I think he probably should have had a Shadow Ball there, but we got lucky and he didn't. We did still have Dusclops in the back in case we needed it, but we did not. But like I said, and if you build up to an Aurora Beam, usually they'll shield it thinking that it is Future Sight. So that's kind of the reason for the movesets there. as well as the main ghosts that do kind of hurt it. Our Alolan Marowak and Drifblim and Aurora Beam does decently well against both of those. So we're going to go ahead and look at our team. And Cresselia basically saved our butt there because they went double fighter on us. So something I totally didn't predict from them. And we're going to go ahead and toss Mawile to the side and not use it at all in this matchup and see if that's going to help us out at all. So we lead with Dusclops against Alolan Marowak. If this is Fire Spin, which it is, it's a very good lead matchup for us. So we're going to be able to get to our Ghost moves much faster than they get to their Shadow Ball. However, if the Shadow Ball does hit, it's pretty devastating. You just want to make sure that you're counting the Fire Spins. And the whole time, I was thinking it was 7 Fire Spins to get to Shadow Ball. So there were a lot of times where they would do 6, and I would be like, well, maybe I missed one, and I would shield just like that, and I would get lucky. So we go for the self-piggyback again, and we get it. And we're going to go ahead and try and feint down this Marowak. At this point, I'm really hoping it's just Bone Club, and it is. So we're going to feint that down, and we're going to have some energy built up here for whatever Pokemon he brings in next, which is Poliwrath. So we're going to go ahead and hit it with a Shadow Punch. Really liked Dusclops in this cup. And then I totally changed it out when I got Banette and Shadow Ball Haunter to try those things out. And then I would basically end up to the point where I was like, man, I really wish I had Dusclops on my team. But I've done extremely well without Dusclops on my team and extremely well with Dusclops on my team. So, it's definitely a very good Pokemon for the Cup. Same goes with Cresselia. I kind of dismissed Cresselia, took it off my team, and then there were a lot of times where I was like, man, I wish I still had Cresselia on my team. But here he brings in Excadrill, which I knew he was going to bring in because, why would he not have it on his team and not use it, So it's definitely something you wanted to see. And I'm like, oh, this is probably a Bulldoze. I wonder how much damage it'll do. And it's Drill Run, and it literally almost kills me. I was like, wow, that did a ton of damage. And then in comes his Poliwrath, which we're just going to be able to handle. And then when they changed Power Up Punch and everything too, it was a pain in the butt, especially since if you're doing multiple tournaments and these tournaments lasting such a long period of time. If you guys aren't familiar with the Go Stadium tournaments, there is a Discord, Go Stadium Discord, and they'll put you in a group with, I believe it's 17 other people, so you could possibly do a 5-round tournament as long as everybody participates. We did have a couple people fall off, and I think we only had 13 in this tournament, so it was only a 4-round tournament. Did go ahead and decide to waive this tournament because I was not sure what other tournaments I was going to be able to do this month because my job required me to work weekends. So here, I dropped my phone actually because we were going out to go do something, and dropped my phone, and I went to pick it up, and I accidentally swiped to the side or something, and if iPhones do that, it'll swipe to a different app. So I think I lost the confusion there, so I really ended up getting hurt here, and this is Game 3, so I already sealed the victory, but I always like to play the Game 3. Apparently it matters for tiebreakers. It doesn't matter for Silph Arena points. But it does matter for tiebreakers, so if you're in a local tournament where they're giving out prizes, you want to do that 3rd round to try and get as many wins as possible so you can win that tiebreaker at the end. And here we get hit by Shadow Ball, which we don't really care about because it's not going to KO Poliwrath. And we're just going to power up our bubbles, and then here he does a great switch, switches out to his Poliwrath, and he had a Shadow Ball charged, which I was unaware of, and he's got double shields here, so basically an uphill battle for me. I would have been much better off if my Cresselia would have, actually have health left, but since I made that mistake, we're not able to quite come back from this battle. So the funny thing about Dusclops too is I had a shiny one. I have a bunch of shiny Duskulls. For some reason, Duskull seems to love me. I have 5 or 6 or something like that. But I checked one and it was a 1 14, 13. It was like really good. And then I was like, oh wow, that's not even good enough for Dusclops because Dusclops pretty much needs to be maxed out. And then I found this one and it was like really close to 100% PvP IVs. So I went ahead and powered it up. And there, I think I don't think it mattered. He's got like 1 HP left. So we end up losing round 3 there. But I got a great PvP IV shiny Dusclops. So hopefully it'll be used in future tournaments. Obviously not allowed in Ferocious Cup, but Alolan Marowak is allowed in Ferocious Cup. So if you use the one in this cup, you can carry it over. Not sure how I feel about Ferocious Cup. I'm not liking the fact that Umbreon needs Last Resort. It's a legacy move. It's hard to get. Then it's definitely going to win the mirror match or be able to handle Ninetales alone. Ninetales a little bit better. So I'm not too sure how I feel about that. But right now, we're going to go ahead and get back into this. We lead Dusclops into Steelix, which is an okay matchup. It's not the best. You definitely want to hit as many fire punches as you can and either bring in the next Pokemon and farm down the Steelix a little bit or see what happens. So there they do get an extra Dragon Tail in when I do my charge move, which is not ideal for me. So we are going to go ahead and switch out. We do catch the Crunch with the Steelix, which is fantastic. And built up a little bit of energy. He switches in Metachan, so we're in a bit of a situation here. We're just going to try and go for a Crunch to burn a shield or do a decent chunk of damage. And then we're going to try and get another one in, and we just barely do. And Metachan is just so tanky, like the Crunch wouldn't have done even that much to it still. So we're going to be able to bring back in the Dusclops. It does not have very much health left. And this Metachan had a ton of energy. So I end up just absolutely just wasting my shield because he basically had 3 Ice Punches ready to go before I could get to the Shadow Punch. Just absolute good job on his end for farming me down and not using any energy at all on the Steelix. And then I'm pretty much toast here. So bring in Poliwrath, and if this is Psychic, we're done for. And it is. So we do lose game 1. We're going to go ahead and try and adjust for that. Unfortunately, I did not have my final round or 2 of the 3 matches for the next battle. My screen recorder was having some issues, and it would basically just stop recording without even letting me know. So I did hopefully, I think, get all 5. I think I got all 5. But I did a 5-round tournament in the verified 40 group as well, and I did go 4-1 in that. So if I can find all of those, I'll try and post them as well. So let me know in the comments below. Also, if you guys want to see me bring back the face cam, or if you just like the commentary like this. It's just a little bit easier for me to do it without it. But I can definitely, get the face cam rolling again if you guys like seeing my reactions and things like that. So let me know in the comments below if you like to see that. So this matchup is interesting. I did lead Mawile into the Cresselia, which was really, really good. I looked at his team and I almost didn't feel like bringing Mawile at all. But if I could catch Cresselia or Banette with it, I'd be okay. And then it actually does have decent matchups like this against the Steelix and the Probopass. So we're able to just absolutely chunk away. And the weird thing about this team composition was his whole team was pretty much weak to Cresselia. I'm sorry. His whole team was pretty much weak to Mawile, having Cresselia and Probopass and Steelix. And then he brings back in his Cresselia against the Steelix. Steelix absolutely walls Probopass. So I just brought Steelix in every matchup trying to catch either, his opposing Steelix, Cresselia. It can do well against Banette and Cresselia. I think I already said that. Go for the Crunch. just to go ahead and take this thing out, because Cresselia can actually do a decent chunk with Aurora Beams and, take the Steelix out. See, look at that. That just does a ton of damage. And I'm going to go ahead and save that crunch on Steelix just in case we need it. But we should be okay here, just being able to feint down this Probopass. And it's just been raining the past few days, so ugh. And we do have Dusclops in the back with pretty much full health. We didn't even use it at all in this matchup, but able to bring it in and finish the matchup. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and go into Game 3. And then I did notice a tendency, no, I think that's in the next matchup, but I did notice the tendency of him liking that Probopass. So we're definitely going to bring Steelix. And that's something to look out for, especially if you do end up playing in a Battle 3 or if you've played against people multiple times, is to try and kind of look and see what they like to do a lot and, kind of prepare for it. So if you see them bring a specific Pokemon 2 times, you probably know that they're going to bring it again. And he's definitely brought that Probopass, as well as he brought double Steel last time, so we're going to see what happens here. And we do catch the Medicham with the Cresselia. He probably thought I was going to lead with Mawile or Steelix again. So we're in an okay situation here. We're just going to make the Steelix burn its energy on the Cresselia, and then we're going to switch in Mawile. And it's not the best situation to, have to use Mawile to beat the Steelix, but you want to at least get some use out of it. Sometimes you'll end up going up against, say he brought Medicham in. So I know my Mawile isn't going to do anything against Medicham, but it can do some damage against Steelix. So at this point, I'm like, well, now I'm loaded, absolutely loaded up. And in comes the Medicham. I probably could have went for Power Up Punch here, but if he doesn't shield this, it would kill him and basically, put his last Pokemon up against a full health Mawile that's been powered up. And just being powered up once, it still does a ton of damage. Look how much health is going on that Medicham. And he decides to Ice Punch, which is even better. So he doesn't have any energy left, and then he brings in his Probopass, and I bring in Steelix, and this does take a while, but Steelix absolutely walls Probopass. Probopass cannot do a single thing. Either Rock Slide or Thunderbolt do no damage at all to Steelix. Like, you could literally just run out the timer and you don't even have to use a shield. But we're going to go ahead and try and kill it with Earthquakes. And then we're making sure to overcharge just in case he does switch into Medicham. As if you guys watched my last one, Mango or Dragon Silk absolutely juked me. Similar situation to this. So you just kind of have to think about how long has it been since their switch timer might be up and try and pay attention to it. So in that case, I should have really tried to make sure that I wasn't too aggressively tapping the Earthquake, but I was. It was okay because it still killed it, and like I said, I'm still going to be able to get to another Earthquake and finish off the Probopass. So there we go. Getting all sorts of notifications. I hope that's over with now that iOS has been updated a few times. And then this is our final match. This is actually the third match against Boomerang. I noticed that he was bringing his Poliwrath quite a bit. So I wanted to bring Cresselia and save Cresselia in the back. And I did lose one of these matchups, so it was kind of like a Hail Mary type thing for me, where I was just like, man, I need Cresselia to hopefully win this match for me. So here we go again with the Steelix and Dusclops, and I think his Steelix IVs are not as good as a normal one because it seemed like that Fire Punch did a lot more damage than it normally does. and he did invest a shield there. So we're in a really good situation. We're not gonna. We did invest a shield, but like I said, normally when you invest a shield, they will return and invest a shield, which is sometimes a good situation for you, so that you can hit them with shadow balls or get them to a situation that's favorable for you where they had no shield. So I think that's kind of what's going to happen here. So we're able to farm down the Steelix with Drifblim. And then he's going to bring in his Dusclops, which he probably should have brought in his Poliwrath, to be honest. But he does bring in that, and we get the unshielded Shadow Ball. So most players think that you're always going to go for the buff with Drifblim. The Ominous Wind, trying to get the buff, but not always the case. So it's definitely something you want to make sure that you count for. You do not want an unshielded Shadow Ball to come through and hit your Ghost type or, pretty much your Ghost type, because Steelix and Poliwrath can actually handle it. And believe it or not, Cresselia can live from an unshielded Shadow Ball. But there we go, we take it out. We do end up going 4-0 in this tournament, which is what I weighted. It did put me top 300 in the world, actually 300th even. So it was something I was extremely happy about. So I did continue to do some more Sinister Cups. Like I said, I have a couple more. Let me know if you guys want to see those, and I will go ahead and commentate on them for you. And let me know if you want the face cam back. So go ahead and comment down below if you do want that. And I will see you guys in the next video. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.